special.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, like,
Hi.
hi everybody.
What is it?
Hi.
It's such a good, yeah, he literally.
Hi.
It's awesome.
He's waving. Oh.
So
I
yeah.
love it.
He's
He's
so
gonna do this
cute.
for a minute, and he's just gonna be like,
Yeah. When he falls asleep, it's pretty hilarious. Like it'll just be like doing something, and then he just goes,
yeah.
it's so good.
Say hi, everybody.
Uh,
Oh my God.
well, thanks for bearing with us on just being a little bit later to start. Really appreciate all of y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, we wanted to do our Fit to Find Love call with the family today because we want to bring in that vibe of, for anybody who just wanted to bring in a relationship, to bring a family in, essentially. This is, we got the fam vibes. We're here to answer any questions on that. And then also, if you want to get into like healthy conflict, we can. But Josh and I are planning on making you an additional resource just on that.
Yeah.
So I know, Lauren, you have a half hour with us. So is there any like questions that's really popping up for you that you really want to know before you head out?
So I'm pretty flexible. Well, I'm flexible depending on, it's nap time over here right now. So whenever nap time is over,
That's when you're
I'll probably, if the call is still going, I might just switch off my video and audio and just listen to it.
cool.
Depending, but they should actually be sleeping till hopefully like 10:15, maybe a little later.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so I'm not as crunched for time as I thought I was gonna be, which is good.
Cool.
I was trying to think of things have been going really well for me recently. And I had friends visiting, let's see, not this past weekend, but 2 weekends ago. And they were here for 8 days. My
Wow.
friend from, high school friends that we used to be really close in high school and a bit in college as well. But one of my friends moved to Switzerland a couple years ago. My other friend still lives in Oregon. And so that was so much fun to get to spend a lot of time with them.
Yeah.
Our other friend from high school got married last summer and decided to rent a house in Rocky Mountain National Park this summer with her husband and invite like 14 people from across the country to come and stay for like 4 days.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was incredible. And so we had people from Alaska, LA, California, Colorado, Oregon, and that was a really, I think it was a big thing for me to go and do that because I was super excited and looking forward to it for like a year. But then as it got closer, like a couple weeks away, I started noticing a lot of anxiety around just meeting new people and being in a house with people that maybe I didn't know, or not being sure if I would have my own space or a space I could go to get away from most of the people. Because that's a big thing for me, is being able to retreat when I need to and then come back out. And
Sure.
and so it started feeling like this really heavy weight on my shoulders, and I was getting really stressed out. And I talked to a friend about it, and she was like, when your friends get into town, just be honest with them. Talk to them, let them know how you're feeling. And I was like, yeah, okay, maybe. But then I did, and I found out that both of my friends that were staying with me, and we were all going out to the mountains together, they also have struggled with and do struggle with anxiety and depression at times. And so it just brought us all so much closer together to be talking about these deeper issues. And like we talked about relationships and intimacy and all these different things we went into that we'd never talked about together before.
Oh, wow.
Dude, what?
And so like there's been, I know at the beginning of this course, Josh, you said that you saw the overarching theme being vulnerability for me.
Yeah.
And that's been the theme of my life
Oh.
since you said that, but also for the past 3 months, I've felt it really strongly. And feel the past 2 weeks have been particularly intense in that way, I think. And I'm getting more comfortable just sharing deeper parts of myself with people that maybe I just met. Like the other day, we were at story time at the library. I was with the babies that you take care of.
Yeah.
And the little boy next to us was named Charlie. And that was my dad's name. And
Oh, wow.
I said to his mom, you know, my dad passed away when I was really young, and his name was Charlie. And she was like, oh, that's so sweet. And we had a little conversation about it. And that's something that I would not have shared before. And I was able to just present it, not in a, my dad died, feel sorry for me, but like just sharing a sweet moment with her about her son's name.
Oh.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been fun and crazy and not always easy. But it feels like things are really moving in a very new and exciting and just moving towards openness and lots of vulnerability in my life, which is really cool.
Incredible.
Yeah, I could feel that I could sense that you're really stepping into that this last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You're finding those breakthroughs. So I'm really glad to hear that you continue to practice that like every chance. Because that is a cool thing. Like you start to realize everybody's dealing with the same stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just magical when you can step into that space and you almost become the leader of the group,
Mm-hmm.
which is even more wild. At least for me, my experience is when I would do that. It's like all of a sudden everybody's like, wait a minute, I want to talk about this too. And I'm dealing with that. And they're like, wait, you're so powerful for saying that and for starting this conversation. And it really puts you into a whole nother level of existence.
I've noticed that too, is that when I share some detail about a past relationship or how I showed up or was vulnerable to them or something like that, that it does open up so much more potential for real conversation, even if it's with someone I just met, like getting tacos with friends of friends.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we're talking about relationships and how to be honest and how you grew up and what your home environment was like within 20 minutes.
That's so good. So good.
The real stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Alive too, and that's something that it's not every conversation I have, but I always am striving to just go past the surface and like really get into like, who is this person? You know, where's their heart at? What do they love? What are they excited about? And I always have a few questions like locked and loaded for like I'm having lunch with somebody or a meal or whatever it is, or just hanging out, you know, to ask them like, one of the main ones is like, what are you most excited about right now? And usually that gets to like the real heart and soul of someone, as opposed to, you know, like talking about the weather, which I'm totally guilty of. You know, we all at some point do that where we're just like, oh, I'm really uncomfortable, so let's talk about, you know, this or that. But when I feel myself doing that, I just remember like a couple of my key questions, like, what are you most excited about? What do you love most right now? Or, you know, what was your favorite thing about today? That's another one that I love to ask people, because then it gets them thinking and then you really get to the heart.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited to hear that, Lauren. Wow. Like the fact that you're you're having such different experiences and it's feeling really fulfilling. And like, as Josh was saying, like people are looking at you as a leader. People are looking at you as being so brave to start these conversations because it's scary. I mean, it's something we get scared of.
Well, and I think too, the biggest thing is what's cool is how well this translates into relationships. That this is like the thing. I don't know if you've gotten to practice it much with like an intimate relationship since you really found this new energy, but if you haven't, it's totally cool. Like it's just great to be in this practicing energy, because when the relationship comes that you're looking for, it's like, this is the thing. Like this is healthy confrontation. This is like not letting things bottle up until you are pissed off. This is like that level of depth that a lot of relationships never go to.
Yeah.
This is all those things, like vulnerability and expression like that is really like the key to success in every relationship.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you all how many times I've been in like a business relationship and things were just kind of weird tension. And the minute I would do something like you're talking about, Lauren, and step into the room and say, hey, we need to talk about this. I'm feeling this way, or I'm experiencing this. It's like all the tension would just melt away. The relationships got better. The business would thrive. So like on every level, this is like an effective tool in a way. It's pretty awesome.
One thing that I have been noticing over the maybe the past couple of weeks, so there's been this being emotionally vulnerable, which has been awesome and really felt really good and really real and raw at times. But I've also noticed that I'm feeling challenged with eating healthy foods and also feeling motivated to work out, which that's an interesting one for me because I do go in a row like 3 or 4 mornings a week. But for some reason, I have this mental block somehow of I'm not strong enough, my body's not good enough. And I think it's kind of a perpetuating cycle of, I'm just going to eat sugar because I'm not happy with the way my body looks right now. And that just kind of perpetuates itself.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's almost like a constant thing. Almost if I'm not thinking about anything else, it comes in and it's like your core is not strong enough or your body's not strong enough. And I've been noticing increasingly these feelings and thoughts coming in. And it often happens like I'm about to leave to go see family today. And so transitions, seeing people, like there's a certain amount of stress there. But I'm just interested to hear what you guys have to say about that.
Yeah. Do you find it's linked with like the vulnerability you were talking about, or you think it's like, this is like a separate question?
I think it's a separate question.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a normal thing. Like we just have a tendency to, when we know something is coming up, kind of change the way we operate. And it's a form of self-sabotage. And it's really common. It's something that I experience still. It's much, much less, and it's much quicker that I move through it than before. But, it will still come up for me where I imagine that what's happening is that you sense how good something is going and that things are getting great, they're elevating, and a part of you is afraid of that and wants to sabotage it with food and with your workouts. Because you feel really good when you eat healthy food and when you do your workouts. You also know that like those self-sabotaging thoughts were coming in with like your progress within Did you say it was with rowing or with workouts that you were kind of?
I was saying that even though I'm going and doing a workout through rowing, I still feel like I'm not doing enough.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, the not enoughness, like, of what you're doing. I mean, you totally are. Like, even if you were just doing like 3 walks a week, you'd totally be doing enough. But it's like the mentality and the perspective that we've been given in life of like, oh, it's got to look like this, and it's got to be like this for it to be right, or it to be, appropriate or enough. And that's just another way that we will self-sabotage good progress that we're making. And it's one of those things where it's like you just put on your goggles and look for it, like your I can see my self-sabotage goggles and just know, like, okay, well, everything's going great. I'm doing really well. I'm looking, okay, I know that there's some self-sabotage that's going to try and happen. I always describe it as like this in the corner. You got this beast cornered, and you're about to slay the beast and kill it. And the beast is your self-sabotage. The beast is your old self, the part of you that's no longer serving you, the part of you that needs to die, and you don't want to be part of you anymore. And you're about to kill it off, and it's raging bigger and more fierce than it ever has. It's going crazy, and it's just trying not to die. And that's exactly what's happening. It's like you're elevating, and you're elevating, and you know that you're going to your next level, and you know things are great, and you know how great you are, and how great you can be and will be and are being and have always been. And there's the self-sabotage that's like, oh my God, I see myself dying. This part of me that's not serving me and is trying to keep me small. I see it. I see I'm about to die. And it's just trying everything it can to not die. So it's popping up here, and it's popping up there, and it's popping up through food, and it's popping up through workouts, and it's popping up through all these other things too. And that's just that. It's just the part of you that's not you. It is not you. The part of you that is you knows that you are great, that you have always been great, that you have infinite possibilities which are limitless. The part of you that's not you is the part that says, I can't do this. Who am I to do that? I shouldn't do it. It's not the right path. It's not smart. All those crazy thoughts. That's not you. And that's what's trying not to die. And it's like, please, no, like, I have to survive. I have to survive. Don't kill me off. And you're just like, you've got it in a corner, and you're ready to slay it, and it's just raging, and it's raging. And it might pop up and rage a few times or many times or whatever. And it might rage a lot for like a whole week or a whole month because it knows it's about to die. But if you can see it for that, if you can see it for what it really is, like you got the goggles on, you really see it like, okay, this is self-sabotage. This is me going to my next level. Like, it's actually a really exciting thing because it's your indicator that you are on it, 1, an incredible path, 2, about to skyrocket up level to all the things that you want, have always wanted, and maybe thought were out of reach. It's all right there. It's so close, and you know it. So the last thing to do is just like see the self-sabotage and just be like, okay, I see you. I know what you are. It's okay. Do your thing, but I'm not going to entertain you. And it's not like you have to like make it go away. If you can make it go away, that's awesome. But you don't, like, sometimes that's really challenging and a big deal. So really one of the best things you could do, and this takes so much of the power out of it, is just go, I see you for what you are. Like, I see that you're just a part of me that's trying to self-sabotage and stop me from going to my greatness. And you're not even me. You're not even a part of me. So, okay, I see you. Like, you don't even have to be like, you have to go. You just be like, I see you, and I see you for what you are. So the second that you find yourself eating a ton of sugar, you just go, oh, okay, cool. Like, I see you for what you are. Like, I'm eating a ton of sugar. And you don't even have to stop eating the sugar. If you want to stop eating the sugar, stop. But, like, just the fact that you see it for it actually just being you. Hi, you like this?
You've been loving it. You've been, like, zoned in for the last 20
You're feeling it. You're feeling it. just because you're seeing it for what it actually is, that it's like, oh, I'm eating sugar because I know that I'm freaking amazing and I'm going to my next level. Then it will take the power away from it. It will take so much of the power out. Or the second that you tell yourself, I'm not doing enough athletically, or like my performance isn't good enough, or why am I not progressing the way I want, or why am I not, like, this is, you didn't say this, Lauren, but a lot of people would say, like, why am I not losing weight? You know, why isn't this happening? It's like, those are our ways of trying, that's like the part of us that's not us, trying to stop us from this super fast track that you're on. Like, you're on a really fast track to all the things you want. It's all right there.
Yeah.
And so when that comes up, it's going to make a huge difference, just this perspective shift. Just that when you, tell yourself that this is just self-sabotage from a level of, I'm about to be next level me, the power will go away. You'll be like, oh, okay. And then you probably will put the sugar down. But if you don't feel bad about it. Just like, be like, whatever, okay, it's fine.
He's like, you're lit, Mom.
I'm lit.
No, it's going off.
Yeah.
I just love all of that. He's like, he's your sister.
He's like this.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I think something else that's really powerful about that, like a good paradigm shift, Lauren, might be that, like, at least the way that I see it is like everything is the same when it comes to like those thoughts you're having of like, you know, I can't remember the exact thoughts you said you were having, but the thoughts you had mentioned you were having that started this conversation.
Like, I'm not strong enough. I'm not doing enough.
Like, those are the same as like, I'm going to go to a retreat house and everybody's going to be like around. I'm not going to have room to go be by myself. So those are all the same thoughts. They're different thoughts, but they're the same root in a lot of ways, in that like, if you can start acknowledging that just all that is, then that same tool that you use to like break through at the house, you can use to break through with this stuff.
Oh, interesting.
You know, because all it is like, if you notice, it comes up when you are feeling moments of judgment or fear, potential judgments or fear, or think that there's a reason for you to show up in a certain way so that you could potentially be judged. So you already kind of just like label yourself not enough. With like there's a couple different examples you would use, but like one was like getting ready to go see family and everything. You start having those feelings, you know, of like uncertainty, anxiety around this whole idea of not being where you want to be, or feeling maybe like you need to be somebody more. So like, those are all the same thoughts as like, same like maybe like root issues is like going into a group of people that's 14 people in a retreat center and you're not going to have your personal space. You know, it's not feeling like you can be your authentic, vulnerable self around people. You're good enough as you are. So then the next layer is the sabotage kicks in and says, well, I'm already this, I'm already that, I'm already feeling the way I'm feeling. And so if you can just start to address that the same way that you would have if you're with that room full of 14 people, but it might only be with like one person, or it might be with yourself alone, or whatever it is, you know. And that's like why a lot of times like personal trainers are great to have, just for accountability. So you can talk about like, hey, I'm feeling like I, you know, beating myself up today. I need to let this go. Or you know, even just having a practice where you journal these things, like I'm feeling like I'm not enough today and I want to let that go. Because it really is all being triggered by this energy of like, I'm supposed to be somewhere that I'm not. And those specific feelings, those thoughts, like anytime you have that feeling of like about your core, about your body, or about whatever, that's what's keeping any like lack of progression or weight, or just like leading you to sugar or whatever it might be. Those are the thoughts that are just like keeping you there. Once you, like Steph said, once you slay those and you can let those go, everything will just melt away that's not you, and like the real true Lord will be there.
Awesome. That's great.
I know there's a lot. I don't know if that all made sense, but
Yeah. No, it did. I can see, I'm starting to see how all of those thoughts are really coming from the same pool. And I think I can use that to, especially with my experience at the house with the people over the weekend, to help translate that to how I'm feeling now. Yeah, that's good.
I mean, I don't even think we would judge you if you pretended like you're in a room of imaginary people.
Yeah.
And you're like, my body is strong, and I want to feel this way. I want to, like, just go into it. Like, that'd be cool too. Whatever it takes to get you into that right place.
Mm-hmm.
That's a shift you got to make.
That'd be a good practice.
Yeah. Or like looking in the mirror and just like, letting it out and like letting yourself feel it, but then also like pumping yourself up. Whatever you need to do to like really be with that and just transmute it.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yeah. And I think a prompt that I wanted to give everybody was about, I found this really powerful. I think this is maybe one of the most powerful exercises or prompts you could do, is write down a list of things that you tolerate.
That what?
That you tolerate.
That you tolerate.
Yeah, and be specific to this area of relationship for right now, but you can do this with literally everything. Write down what you're tolerating, what you're currently tolerating in your life. And then once you write down what that is, you want to write down essentially what that means. So I'll give you an example. Like if I said, I'm tolerating, I'm trying to think of one that I wrote down the other day.
Car.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I was writing, Josh and I share a car. So I was writing down, I tolerate that right now we just share one car. And there was a time in our life where that served us, because at one point we lived out of our car. And then also at one point we were traveling all the time. Now that we're in a home and we're settled down and everything, it's like, I want to, I'm ready to have my own car. Yet I've been tolerating both of us sharing a car for months, years, probably 2 years since we've been here. And so I wrote down, I'm currently tolerating, not having my own car. And what that means is, and then I started writing down just different things that indicated for me. That indicated that I felt like I wasn't worthy of having my own car, that I didn't value myself enough to just go out there and get what I needed, that I was pushing it off, that I was, not giving myself the opportunity that would really elevate me. And the reason why this exercise is powerful is because it's all things that we would really easily be like, oh, that's not a big deal. Like, I'm fine. Like, Josh and I sharing a car is completely fine. There's almost no times when we have conflicts. I'm like, oh my God, I need a car. Oh, I need a car too. It's like, we just have good schedules at work. So it's really easy to say, oh yeah, like it's fine. We don't need a second car. But this exercise is about being your best self, your next level self, the version of you that really is living life how you're supposed to. And when you really take a look at it, when I really took a look at that, I was like, oh, well, actually, there's a lot of things I'm not doing because I don't have a car. That would really make me an elevated version of me, a happier version, a more skilled version. Maybe I'd go to more classes, maybe I'd go, do more meditations outside of the house, like whatever. So I want you all to do this exercise with relationships specifically, and then feel free to do it with your entire life if you want. I think it's really, it will shift your perspective big time, because you go from something that's just like, oh no, it's fine. Like, it's fine. I can get by. Like, I'm not suffering or struggling. Like, I'm fine. To like, oh wow, like I've really been suppressing a part of myself that the world needs.
Totally.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah. Cool. It's a powerful shift.
Mm-hmm.
Big time. And the more you start to see yourself in your wholeness, the more you'll like just let go of those old thoughts. You don't even tolerate any of that anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's not you. It's like a part of you that is a made up story that you're kind of forced upon you.
Playing out.
Like keep that in your head. And once you break through that, it's start to see, like we talked about a minute ago, it's all the same stuff, it's a different way. You got to decide when you want to stop tolerating that in your life and just let it go.
So how about Georgia? Do you have any specific questions that you want to ask?
Specific questions. Well, it's kind of related to. I don't have any specific questions.
How was your birthday, Georgia?
It was good. It was very, very mellow.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Happy birthday!
Yeah. We're gonna take it out. Do it.
Yeah.
You got a whole. You still got 4 days ahead of you. The whole week. I don't know what today is.
Today is Thursday.
Oh, birthday week or what?
Yeah, birthday week.
Or the month. Make it a whole month.
My birthday started off kind of I realized that I had some limited beliefs around my birthday. And it was very the night before my birthday, my parents took me out to dinner, and the heaviness of the limited beliefs started then, but I didn't. It was like I was getting drawn into a pattern, I guess, from my past, but I didn't recognize it as that until the next day, till later the next day. But it was interesting to have that breakthrough on my actual birthday, and it was very powerful, and it was a lot to take, so it made my birthday just kind of like mellow.
Cool.
It was a big shift.
Your birthday.
Birthday, baby.
Yeah. Rebirth.
Rebirth, yeah.
But so that was interesting. That was interesting and good. And I have this anticipation to see how breaking through those limited beliefs will change the pattern in the future. So I'm like, okay, let's ready for the next birthday so I can see if it's different. Kind of, not that I want to get older, but
I love that.
That's how I feel.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I feel like you
My allergies are driving me crazy.
Steph was just telling me to go to Whole Foods and get oregano oil and like a wheatgrass shot. So you got to go over to your Whole Foods and get that too.
We'll knock it right out.
For allergies?
Yeah, just for like the sinus stuff.
Sinus.
It's good.
Okay. Good. I'll do that today.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that'll help.
I was spending some time this morning in prayer and reading and stuff, and as you guys know, I've been working through different layers of, I guess, limited beliefs and strongholds. And recognized was that as Lauren was talking about vulnerability and communication and putting yourself out there and to be with people and just letting yourself be involved with people is like for me it's a big I think it's a big deal for everybody. But what I was praying about this morning was that it was a little bit with relationships. I'm not in a relationship or anything like that, but this feeling around building relationships and also with success business-wise. So I was praying about a specific relationship, and then I was led to pray about my finances, and as I was praying, I was asking these questions like, what's the connection between them two, and like why would one, like I couldn't put the connection together with them. And what I realized was that there's still a limited belief of worthiness
Mm-hmm.
that I somehow relate love and prosperity, or not necessarily prosperity, but I think if I put it specifically with I wrote down money and men. That's exactly what I wrote down. And so what the Holy Spirit showed me this morning is that I have this connectiveness of if there's a man in my life, if I give myself to this man. Sorry guys, I got a phone call. Am I back? Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
That if I give myself to a man, then he'll take care of me from a financial perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of interesting to, for me to put those two things together. Now that I recognize it, I can see how that has been a pattern in my life in the past. I guess like a subconscious expectation maybe.
Yeah.
I had. So
and I see a link too, like I'm not sure if you see this link as well, but from hearing what you said, it sounds like your financial success definitely feels like your mind wants it to be linked to your relationship or the man. And if you're also pushing away a relationship, then it's like this cycle of the money never comes, the man never comes. But the man's never coming because the money's never coming, the money's never coming because the man's never coming. And it's like
it's like it feels like a hamster wheel kind of.
Yeah. Which is very it's very common. It's a thing a lot of people are experiencing. So I'm excited to hear more.
Well, I don't know. I don't really know where to go with all of it right now. I'm kind of like, well, I don't know if I'm supposed to separate it completely, or I don't really know exactly where to go with it. So I've just acknowledged it.
Yeah. Well,
so I've acknowledged it, and now I'm kind of like, okay, well, what do I do with this?
Yeah. Well, I believe you can do both. You can allow the things to be the same, and then you can also separate them. Right now what you can do is separate them in the sense of like welcoming in love, like opening yourself up to letting love in, and at the same time bring in money without the love. And then also know that, hey, it could be both too. When I let the love in, then the money can come in also, but I'm also taking care of myself financially, and vice versa. Does that make sense?
It does. It goes, it makes complete sense. And it's ultimately that's like the ideal thing to want, right? I think
yeah, having it all,
what everybody would want. And that's what I think to myself that I want. Because I don't feel like I want to be in a relationship or to be with someone just so they can take care of me, because I'm not that type of person.
Sure.
On the outside, like I don't have that dependency on people. So when I get these sensations, or like when I hear this stuff and I'm praying about it, it's hard. I think from a love and a relationship perspective, it's like I'm supposed to be, it's like I feel like I'm supposed to be open to it, which I'm trying to be open but I've had a fear since I got divorced, and I made a promise to myself that I would never depend on another person again after that. So I know that this is all kind of based around that a little bit. And so I'm kind of working through the layers of that. And I know that I'm on this verge and this edge of breakthrough. I feel like there's been a lot of change in me, and the way that my emotions and controlling all of that stuff and not getting into that feeling, like, oh, I feel this way, so now I'm just gonna let this go all day long, kind of thing. Like when I have these feelings and stuff, I just ask, okay, well, what does this feeling mean? Sometimes it doesn't mean anything. Like the Holy Spirit will tell me it doesn't mean nothing. Like just forget about it. It doesn't mean nothing, because feelings are just feelings. They come and go and change all the time, all day long. But I've been really avoiding asking the question, how?
Good.
So I'm like circling around this a little bit, because I don't feel like, I mean, obviously that's the bad word. That goes into the bad word box. But I recognize too that when I start asking those questions, then it's like I'm in control. and that's not where my life is coming from right now. Like I'm in a complete surrenderance place with the Lord. And so that has become a lot easier. So that's why when all this came up in prayer this morning, and I asked, like, should I share this today? Because, here in our group and stuff, and I was led to, but I didn't go further into it and asking, how do I do this? Because then I want to put it into a system and label it. We want to label for everything so we can understand it. But I don't know that that's necessary.
Yeah. One thing too that what's that?
That's the most current thing as of right now today.
Awesome. Yeah, one thing that I'm seeing or hearing is that when you got out of your last relationship or your marriage, you said, did you say I'll never depend on a man for financially?
I said that I would never allow myself to depend on a man. So what I recognize is that, I mean, our words create. So I created that, and I've been living in that situation for the past 13, 14 years. But now that I'm going through all these changes and growth and everything, I know that that's not right. That what I created was not right. That pattern wasn't right.
Yeah, and
so now I'm in a process of creation.
What's going on below the surface too is that you say that externally, but like internally, you also have a subconscious belief to be taken care of by a man. So there's two conflicting things that are happening. There's like the thought of, I want to be taken care of by a man, or I'm supposed to be taken care of by a man. That's like you're not even seeing or feeling, that's playing out. And then there's also the part that's saying, no, I don't want that. So it's very confusing and conflicting, and can be something that kind of pushes away what you want. And I can totally understand this, because I definitely have a very similar belief. I grew up watching my mom and dad in a relationship dynamic of my dad works and he takes care of the family financially, and my mom is a homemaker and she raised me, and my dad took care of her and I financially. So there was a story in my life that would play out of looking to be taken care of financially. And when I got in a relationship with Josh, it was that same thing, It was a really conflicting thing, because it's like I got my own business and I'm doing my own thing, but what I really want is for him to be taking care of me financially, because that's the story, the identity, the belief that I held of what my life was, even though I didn't realize it was there. Like, it just was so ingrained part of me that I was expecting that to happen. And it was very confusing for our relationship at first, because I'm this independent woman with her own business, doing her own thing. but yet sort of sabotaging herself in that way because I was always looking for a man to take care of me. So what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing from you is that there's an underlying belief, and it might not be as strong as it used to be, but it was strong enough to create it in the first relationship. So, and then after that, you felt like, oh, well, that hurt me when I lived that belief. So I have to, create a new one, which is I'll never let a man, or I'll never have a man take care of me. I always take care of myself. But then there's still this other part in there that wants the other thing. Does that make sense? That's like kind of like, it's like conflicting each other. You don't realize it's
they're like complete opposites. So it's like you subconsciously believe that, and then consciously I'm saying this. And if we're not clear with what we're wanting and desiring in life, then it's hard to get either one because you don't know what to work towards.
Totally. Yeah.
Or to receive what God really has for you.
Yeah. And then also being really real and honest with it too, because, I noticed that you were saying like, I'm not that kind of person or, whatnot. And it's like our minds tell us that it's not okay to be dependent on someone else. And especially, once you decided that you did not want to be taken care of by someone else, to say I want to be taken care of by someone else is like a bad thing. Like you feel like that's a bad thing to say. And I think the first part is just allowing it to be okay. Allowing, like, if that's like part of the way you like grew up, or that's part of what you saw, or that's just part of your story or your identity, well, allowing that to be all right, that's the identity. Even if it's something that most people think is desirable. Like I too have that mindset that like, oh, if people knew that I just wanted a man to take care of me, they would judge me and they would think less of me and they would be like, who is this woman? But the more that I allow myself to say it's okay, like this was programmed into me, it's all right to feel like that, the easier and lighter it gets, easier to like let it go it gets. Because Josh and I have had so many conversations in our relationship about this exact topic. And at first I would try and pretend like I wasn't that person, and be like, I'm not like that. I'm not like that. Look at me. I have my own business. I'm taking care of myself. But the more that I owned up to it and was like, actually, this really is a part of me. I'm looking for someone to take care of me. The more we could have a conversation about it. And in your case, the more you can journal about it and write about it and understand it in yourself. And the more we talked about it, I was just like, okay, this is a part of me, but it's not me. So then we could have the conversation that was like freeing me to actually be independent, make my own money, do my own things. And then at the same time, like love when Josh takes care of me too. So like have both of them, where he's not like, holy shit, like it's all on me. I'm the only breadwinner for the family. It's no longer like that feeling. It's more of just like, cool, Steph makes her money, I make my money, we do things. Sometimes I treat her to stuff because it feels nice to her as part of her programming, but it's not necessary. Like we talked about in like, I think the first call, asking for what you want, but not being attached to getting it.
Yeah.
Did you have something to say?
No, it's all good.
Oh, okay.
Really good.
Yeah.
So, I think I will say like the biggest thing is just seeing the conflict and allowing that to just choose, like allow yourself to choose which way you want to be. There's nothing wrong. Like I think even looking at men and women, typically there's a stereotype of like the man's the provider, the woman is like the homemaker. And I think in this time, it's like that whole paradigm has completely been dismissed. And it's like you can be whatever you want to be this day and age. But at the same time, like, if there is like energy, like the feminine and masculine, that it's important to know like where you are and really cultivate that energy. Because a lot of times people aren't honoring like their feminine energy. Steph wouldn't honor her feminine energy for a long time. And like be in a certain level of receiving mode. She's trying to be this masculine energy that's like pushing in her business, which is great. And I love that. And I always would promote that in her. But then it was like not acknowledging the feminine side of her that wasn't allowing her to receive what she needed to from her business. So then I was having to fill that void. And like take care of the part that she wasn't receiving. Or like for me, I was acknowledging more of a feminine energy as a man, and so I didn't have that like masculine energy to like create and produce as much, and so that tended to hold me back from really being like the breadwinner per se. And not that like Steph was necessarily expecting that from me, but there's this like confused dynamic in the relationship. And so, I think it's important to acknowledge those energies, even when you're single and wanting to create your life, because it will dictate what you attract into your life. If you have room to attract that in your life, and it will also dictate like what you're receiving in your life. So if you're not really honoring this like space of the masculine energy to go create and provide, then you might be not fully receiving, like, or even creating the opportunity to receive. But if you're not able to shift into that feminine mode once you created your masculine state, masculine energy, then you're not going to really receive what you need to be taken care of, from this energy of God providing and really allowing you to receive the gifts that you're supposed to. And so, it's something that to each individual person you got to dig into and really journal about which mode you're in, which energy you're in on a consistent basis, and how you're flip-flopping. And then, when a man does come into the picture, you still feel out what energies you all want to entertain. Like maybe you do assume a more masculine role and even more feminine role, or maybe he becomes this masculine, you take a more feminine role. It doesn't change your own individual balance of these energies. That you can still have your own business within that larger vision of a synergy of a relationship. But it might be that like he enjoys taking care of you, so you still let him take care of you. You're still building your business and using those masculine feminine energies to balance your business. But when you're with him, you might be in a more receiving feminine mode. Or maybe, like I said, maybe you just like being this masculine, stronger energy as a woman, and so this man comes in, maybe he likes being provided for more, and you enjoy that. And so maybe your business is cranking, and you're just always in the masculine, and you're got it the feminine dialed in enough that you receive well in your business too, and then you want to provide for him, and he just like is gonna stay home, dad or whatever. Like it doesn't really matter the dynamic as long as you know the dynamic and you know how to work. You know how to really like allow
So it's like you're knowing your own identity.
Yeah, exactly.
And know that it can ebb and flow, like what Josh is describing. Like it can be that in the beginning, and then it can go into a different mode, and then it can go into another mode. Like our relationship, we ebbed and flowed. Who's masculine, who's feminine, so much. And like even just in the last season of Jonathan's birth, like the month leading up to it, and then this very last month, it's been very much like Josh masculine heavy and he's feminine heavy, like probably more than it's ever been.
Yeah.
And then before that, I would say I was in my masculine a lot, like really creating and like, doing a lot of stuff. And you kind of were too. So we were kind of both in it. But just know it can ebb and flow and change. And then the other thing I really wanted to say was that know that you are allowed to be all of the things. Know that it's okay to be everything. You don't have to label yourself or fit yourself into a box of like, I provide for myself, or I want to be provided for. You can be both. You can be all of it. Like you're allowed to be absolutely everything. And it can change too. Yeah.
Because I do think that's important with Steph saying that, again, like I mentioned, you're going to attract whatever you're kind of putting out. And so if you like have this arm's length away, like I don't want to be provided for by a man, then you're not allowing this man to come in and do what a man in your definition of relationship would do. There's nothing wrong with having a man come in your life and provide for you while you're still creating a business that sustains you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And that was my initial thought when I was listening to you guys, was why is it one or the other?
Yeah.
So I guess I needed to hear that you can have both, or you can be both.
Cool. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, that to me like feels like the intuition that God's saying, like you're gonna open up the gateway bringing in the relationship that you really want, and being confident
that.
and like knowing that you're not like knowing that you're going to have a healthy, happy relationship because you have control over you, but you also know what to play in the relationship that feels good to your program.
And I think one of the most freeing things in our relationship to me has just been like allowing myself to be okay where I am, even if I think it's flawed, even if I think it's wrong, you know, like allowing myself to be all the things. Because the most pain I felt in a relationship is trying to be one or trying to fit myself into a box. So being with Josh and just saying, hey, I like to be provided for, and I like to provide for you, and I like to provide for myself, you know,
Yep.
to say I'm all of these things, and it might sound crazy to you, like I'm some person who says, I like this, and I like this, and I like this, but that's me. That's been the most freeing ever for him, for me, and for us. So just allow yourself to fully be who you are, and like put it out there and own it, and just be like,
Yeah.
like, that's me. You don't like it, we're probably not a good match. But this is me, and I'm always going to be me.
Yeah. And one more layer that I would, excuse me, throw in there, like be meditating on and feeling into is this idea of love languages we talked about a lot. You know, it's like some men are going to come in your life that they have a desire, or I'll say for everybody watching this, like the relationship in general, and the significant other is going, maybe somebody who has like a love language and loves gift giving. And like that can be confused for being taken care of, or like creating an energy of being taken care of. But it might just be that you need to know that about that person, that that's what they do, and just receive that, you know, and that's not being taken care of. But to you, that might be a massive trigger. Like, oh crap, he's buying me, you know, jewelry, he's buying me clothes, he's buying me a car, whatever. That might just be the way they express love, you know, like, and if we don't, like you said, if we don't label it so much, you just understand what you can create to be sustainable within that for yourself. It's going to be a win-win for everybody, you know?
So when you say meditate on that, do you mean meditate on knowing what my love languages are? If I don't, like, if there's not somebody else in my life, like, or
that, I think that's a good place to start, is knowing what your love languages are, because you might like gift giving, which means you probably love receiving gifts. And if you've been pushing that out of your life for being taken care of for a long time, that means you may not be open to receive gifts in the way that would make you feel the most lit, you know? So it's a good place to start, is like knowing your own love language. You know what you want from a man that you're wanting to attract. You know, I'll say a significant other, for anybody watching this, like, you know your love language, you know what you really desire for your mate to be bringing into the energy of the relationship. And then I'll say that, but know them in general, because when somebody else comes into your equation, it helps you really start to see sometimes they're not trying to take care of you. They just like giving gifts. That's just what they do. Like, I'm a gift giver in a lot of ways. And for me, it's not providing for people. It's just like, I love giving people stuff. You know, but I can see where a lot of girls in the past thought it meant, like, before I met Steph, they thought it meant I was going to be a provider for them. I was like, no, I want you to have your own life. I want you to like create your own epic stuff. I just love giving you stuff, you know? And so there's a lot of confusion with the energies of that. You know, and sometimes it's like personal touch. Sometimes it's, you know, just words of affirmation. Whatever those things are, you know, in the love languages, and they did a module on that, is like just being comfortable with that adds another layer of what might be really going on in these relationships, or even within yourself, what you're like holding yourself back from receiving. Is somebody coming in and speaking your love language to you.
if I remember correctly, when we did that, my love languages were, I think it was serving, is the way they labeled it.
Okay.
Serving. So to me, that's like taking care of people.
Uh-huh.
I would put that in that that understanding, which makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think it was touch. I have it written in all my notes and stuff. I'll have to do it again.
Cool.
But what was I gonna ask? I was gonna ask. So let's say those that's my love language. Does that mean that that means that that's what I like to do for somebody else, or is that what I like to receive?
What you like?
It's what you like to receive,
What I
but
like to get.
typically that also can mean that it's like what you like to give. It's like what you will give without thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like, I love personal touch. That's my love language. I love when Steph scratches my back or hugs me. So I always try to do it to her. I'm always like trying to scratch her back. And she's like, get the freak off of me, dude.
Like that tickles.
It doesn't, like, I would try to massage her when we first met, like give her massages, you know, like a loving boyfriend. She was like, don't touch me. I don't need that.
I really didn't like massages for a long time.
Yeah.
Now I do, but
So
I was like,
it's like, you know,
I was the same way.
this is kind of like a rabbit hole conversation if we get too deep, but it's just like you tend to give what you want.
Yeah.
And if you are in a space where like you don't want a man in your life to take care of you because you swore that off years ago, you know, or a person in your life, then what ends up happening is that now you're not able to receive your love language from like a specific person, because that might be like an energy of them taking care of you. Or it might be that like, you know, you're in a space where you're not really understanding that what maybe like somebody could bring into the relationship, and that would freak you out and trigger you. And so you need to just be at least confident that that's an okay thing of like, you know, being given that kind of like loving touch and that sheltering, but at the same time, like you're wanting to serve these people, you know, like coming into your life. Like your love language is serving, so you're probably wanting to serve these people. So you already have this like, basically have this dynamic where you're like, I want to serve you, so you can't serve me, you know, and it gets all confused. So you got to just be like aware of that and know that it's okay for you to serve them and them serve you, and everybody's serving each other and winning.
That was it.
Because if that's your love language, and you probably will attract somebody that's going to serve you. And if you don't want to be served or taken care of, then you kind of do this real quick. You know, so that's what I'm saying is there's a difference between coming into your life and speaking your love language to you, maybe naturally, without you even knowing it, and maybe taking care of you. You can still set a boundary on that.
So that's one of the big things that came up on my birthday when around this belief was this pattern that I had created, or that had been created in my life for birthdays, was that it was never about me. It was always to please whoever. Like when like if it was my birthday, I would always celebrate my parents, like give them thanks.
Yeah.
And then when I got older, and then I started dating my ex-husband when I was a teenager. So we were together till I was in my birthdays were just like however he wanted. It was like an excuse to party or to drink or to have sex or whatever. And it was always just like whatever he wanted. I mean, I have this memory of when I turned 21, he gave me a bouquet of flowers with a card in it and some money, and it said, "Go buy me some beer." So I remembered that. I mean, I hadn't thought about that in years. I remembered that on my birthday, and I realized that my birthday has always been like, I've just always had it as that to please other people. Whatever to make them happy. And I recognized that the night before when me and my parents went out to dinner, because I was like, the pressure of trying to decide where to go eat and like all this stuff. And I was like, whatever you guys want. So we went to where my dad wanted to go, and you know, it was just like, that was fine. They were happy. I was like, okay, they're happy. They enjoyed their time. And so just all of this with serving and taking care of other people, it comes very naturally for me to do that. I did that for 20 some years in the dental field. And then now I'm doing that kind of with massage and stretch and tone. And so what did I do on my birthday after all this is I went out and I was like, okay, I gave a massage to a client because I needed to give. That's the way I felt. Like I was like, I know it's my birthday and whatever, but I had to give. And I kind of directed the energy in it. What I realized that I was able to do was I was able to decide that I wanted to give. Like it was my choice to give instead of in the past, it was just taken from me. Like I was participating in the things, but it was because I felt like I had to.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff, it wasn't because I wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's awesome.
That was a little bit of an empowerment just to be able to decide that, okay, well, I'm doing this because I want to, not because somebody's making me do it.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's a great. It's like so a lot of times you do these steps to break through. It's a great next step is to like find your power within that and start to own your power, so you can really stay like I'm no longer doing something because I feel obligated, but I'm choosing to do this. You know, and then what I see is like the opposite of your almost negative experiences is to like let people serve you on your birthday.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you need to get in that space. That's one of the reasons why I was like, yeah, dude, you got to come to Utah. Like this is like that kind of energy. Because you need to get in an energy, world where you like see people are serving you and you are owning that energy. You know, you are creating a space where you understand what that feels like, what that sounds like, what that is. Because I don't know if you've ever seen, I mean, I don't know your past fully, but like if you've ever been around an environment or with a role model who like really can show you that what it's like to be served in a loving, balanced way. You know, it's like your birthday should be people coming around like just pampering you, like oohing and gooing over you. You know, it's like amazing, like you're like your little baby. You know, and it's like you deserve that, and you being able to receive that. You know, and like you're like the pedestal, you're the queen, and it's like there's nothing wrong with you wanting to choose to give a massage on your birthday. That's awesome too. But I think like the overlying energy, not the underlying energy, should be like on your birthday, George is a queen. Everybody's just like coming to her to serve her and give her massages, and
you pick the restaurant that you want to go to, and
yeah, it's like everything. And so like that's what I think is like I was talking about before. There's this confusion of energy that you're not really allowing because you've been kind of conditioned to just give it all up.
Yeah, and when you write about what you're tolerating, definitely put this down. Like this would be a great one to write about. Like you're tolerating this, like all the things that you tolerated on your birthday, and what does that mean about you? What is that saying? Saying, oh, I let somebody else, I give to others on their birthday. That's saying I don't value myself. I don't think I deserve all eyes on me and everybody taking care of me. And what does that mean? And then keep going with it and keep finding what that means for you.
Totally.
And kind of where it came from.
That's awesome.
I've been there too, feeling like it's uncomfortable to let people, go all out for me.
Yeah.
Oh, why should everybody be focused on me?
Yep.
God bless you.
And then I realized, oh, that's saying a lot about how I view myself if I don't let other people just treat me like a queen. Having this pregnancy and the birth experience really taught me how to especially receive and be the queen. Because you're the queen. You're the queen in your world. You deserve for people to take care of you. Yep. You can take care of yourself. Awesome. But you can be taken care of too.
Yeah, you can have both.
Yeah, have both.
Yeah, you deserve both.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Going
I
complete.
have a lot of journaling. I have to tell you guys that I've never. So when I was younger, like teenagers, preteens, I was like everybody's babysitter. I just
Yeah.
took care of all my family's kids. You know, I was the babysitter in the family, and I have a really big family on my mom's side.
Wow.
And then I went after that. I just like it was just just babies. I never really thought of if I would have them or anything like that. I just always took care of babies.
Yeah.
And then I got married, and all these things that were taught, that were fed to me in that relationship and that family, built this thing around me. Was like, I'll never have kids, because I was told, don't have kids, have kids, they're going to ruin your life, you're going to get fat, every every negative thing that you could possibly think. So that's the only, I was married with my ex for 14 years, and I never got pregnant, like during the, not being on birth control and everything. So I always question that, like, that's weird,
Yeah.
But I recognized the energy of like hearing all that. Like, I probably just wasn't receptive to it. And I haven't been for years, but now for the first time in all this many years, I see you guys with baby Jonathan. I'm like, oh, I really want a baby. And it's so different.
Yeah.
It is so, I'm like, really? Like, I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, really, Georgia? Like, that you? Like, really? Because it's really, I laugh because it's even hard for me to say it or hear it. I'm just not used to it.
Yeah.
So it's so cute.
That's amazing.
I watch your guys' videos, and the way he just like stares at you guys, it's just so cute. It's like he's so in love.
And it's so true. You'll be healthy. You'll have a perfect body.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have so much fun and happiness when you're baby. And you just, all the things you were told, you gotta just let go forever and just know, like, God wouldn't give you this opportunity if it wasn't miraculous.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And you were told by all the people that you love, so of course it like struck a chord in your heart. But just know that none of that stuff's real. I know I saw the whole thing happening as I got pregnant. People were constantly trying to tell me about what it was going to be like for me and what pregnancy is and what having a kid is. And I was just like, no, I don't want to hear your story. Like, I'm not trying to be rude, but I don't care about how that went, because your story is not my story.
Yeah.
I could tell my story about what pregnancy is for me, what birth is for me, what being a mother is for me.
Yep.
And watching you on, just seeing your videos and the whole process of it all, the past, through the whole pregnancy, and then now that you've had him, and how you, in such a short amount of time, like, you're just back to your cute little body. You were pregnant too, but you know what I mean. But I've had that limited belief in my mind, and it was like God was literally put you right there for me to see. Every time you had a video, it was like, look, this is all that stuff, it's not true. Look, it's here. It's right here. Like, the proof is right here in the pudding kind of thing. So every time I saw that, I had, I had to recognize it. It's like, okay, there's a different story. It's like people choose what they want. It's a choice.
And like, you absolutely you wouldn't have been seeing it if like you said, it wasn't supposed to show you that it's possible for you. It's like all those things you heard before were just stories, other people's stories. You get to create your own story, how it goes.
And my circle of my life and my friends, even family, has gotten so small. I recognize that a lot of those people that fed to those limited beliefs, that had those beliefs in themselves, they're not in my life anymore.
Oh wow. Mm-hmm.
Not because, like, they're just not in my life anymore. And so it's I'm trying to recognize all of it, because I feel like all the changes are just so powerful, and I don't want to I don't want to just be like in a year from now, like, oh, well, yeah, that happened. Like, you know, when you go on vacation, you have this amazing time, and then a year later, you're like, oh yeah, remember we did that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to really pay attention. And I've gone through my spiritual coach, who's like laughing kind of, because I've gone through like 2 or 3. I think I'm on my 3rd journal in just like the past few months, because I write so much. I'm just like, I write everything down, and then I go back and I read it, and even from 2 months ago, I'm seeing all these breakthroughs and these changes, and I'm like, wow. Like, I'll give you guys a very simple little example, which it's not simple, but it's you know, it's not simplicity, it's just simple. So I love roses. I love, like, just, you know, those big old fat white roses or red roses.
Yeah.
They're like just really big. And I used to, when I lived by myself, I always used to go and buy roses, and I would have them in my kitchen table or whatever. But I just haven't done it in so long. So before a few days before my birthday, I was like, Lord, I really want some roses for my birthday. And kind of forgot about it, didn't think anything of it. Like, I could have gone and bought myself some roses, you know, but just kind of let it go. And the client that I gave a massage treatment to, gave me a big bouquet of just those big red roses. And
Wow.
it was just like, in that moment, I was like, God kind of reminded me, like, yeah, I'm listening, I hear you, and you are receiving what you're asking for. And then yesterday I got another bouquet from my friend that lives in Dallas.
What?
It was just like, yeah, it's just like stuff like, it's all those little things, like in life in the past, where I would just be like, oh, this is nice. You know, you don't really recognize the gift in it, or that you desired it and asked for it. All these things, it's just like my attention is so focused on stuff like that, and just recognizing it. So it's very powerful. It's cool.
Wow.
Go Georgia.
Yeah, that's all such
such
great signs that you're doing it. You're doing it. It's happening. You're living it.
Yep.
Oh, it's so good.
Keep evolving. You're doing great.
Proud of you.
It's like the perfect time for you to start opening up your relationship.
Yeah.
If you desire a child, perfect time to open to that. And get your business all aligned. I mean, you know, the business is like a child too. So it's like you got all these great energies, and starting just to know, you know, where, like, what energy best supports you and which energy to play with. You just spend time journaling on that.
And know it's okay to be all the things.
Yeah.
Be everything.
You got this. You're doing great. Really impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. We're super stoked. We're constantly like, yay.
Yeah.
And I do my like intentions every morning, and you and everybody are always like, I always send out good love energy that things that you all want are coming to you and happening. So it makes me so excited that they are.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. Thank you for doing that. I receive it all.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I was going to, oh, sorry, go ahead, Georgia.
I was gonna say I'm still I'm praying, just God open doors for going to Zion. I really want to go.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, that would be really fun.
Intention that I'm just praying about and meditating on, and trying not to take control, in a sense of like, I mean, I know I have to do the work, or there's things that I'll do, but like, how can I make this happen? Like, you know, that force.
Yeah. I could just like let
so,
it happen in a way that feels good and flows.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I really want you to be there. I know it's going to be something that is going to be so freaking powerful, so magical.
Yeah.
I know you know.
Yeah. And we talked about.
I feel energy around it, and when I pray about it, I just feel this energy, and around that, but like this energy of like some type of change, of breakthrough of something. And so I'm just trying to kind of nurture that energy.
Well, sometimes I notice too, like with those things, sometimes things is big. It's almost like there isn't an answer. You just gotta freaking like step into it, which I know you know that too. So just keep feeling it out. Let's keep the conversation going.
Yeah.
You know, there's sometimes like, when you feel what you're feeling right now, that's like all you need to know. And then the rest is just like step in and complete faith, and it will just all work out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So just keep feeling out what feels most aligned, and like it'd be epic if, like you said, everything just kind of flows effortlessly and the resources are there. But sometimes we're really being challenged to step into what we feel, what we know is so powerful, and just say, like, this is it, let's go. So yeah, let's keep that conversation going. It's going to be a really really rad time.
Yeah. I was going to say on a different subject that, you know, part of this call was to bring in the family vibe and talk about some of like having Jonathan in our lives and everything. But I kind of had an intuition that this would happen, and it did. That through the questions and things that we talked about, we really brought up the things that we were going to say about that family life and everything. And I would say that probably the biggest thing is that communication and that ability to be who we fully are unapologetically. Because bringing a baby in has taken communication, lots and lots of communication, lots and lots of vulnerability, lots and lots of asking for help. You know, there was moments after, especially right after birth, I did a natural home birth, and I just couldn't do a lot of things. Like I was getting up off the bed was a lot for me. So seeing my stuff come up of like wanting to take care of myself and having to release and surrender and be taken care of and ask for help and communicate vulnerably on, I can't do this right now, so can you help me? I'm not able to whatever, so would you whatever. That communication, that's really present for me because that was my experience. But like having this guy around, it's like we have to communicate. Like communication is all of it, and it's vulnerable communication. It's not just like, hi, how you doing, whatever. It's like, hey, this is some real stuff. I'm about to tell you where I'm at, you tell me where you're at, we're going to create this.
Yep.
So I think that's the biggest thing that I would say, and we really hit on that. We really touched on that a lot in this call. But just being the more, like as you said to Lauren, like this, by having that foundation, it's going to, you can use it in every area of your life. Being vulnerable, if you can be vulnerable in one spot, you can use it everywhere, and it will improve every single thing.
Yeah, 100%. That's the practice.
Yeah.
Keep the vulnerability going and just stay in your best state.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I got a poopy diaper, so speaking of family life, I gotta change this man up.
Yeah. So thank you so much for your question, Georgia.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Lauren had to go, but I'm sure if you're watching this later, Lauren, thank you for everybody who's watching this.
Yeah.
It has been an honor to coach you and serve you and help you and guide you. And we're always here for you. We love you. As I said, every morning I'm thinking about you. So, and sending out good intentions and love and just seeing you in your highest and feeling your best. And just
I'm so glad to have all of you in our family.
Yes, we are.
Thank you so much for everything that you guys do. You guys are.
Oh, thanks, Georgia.
This has been a true blessing.
Oh, thank you.
It means a lot.
As are you.
Yeah.
Yay. Well, okay, we'll have this recording up. If you have any questions, put them in the boxer. And it's been amazing. We love you guys. We love you all.
We do. We love you so much.
Bye, Jerry.
Yeah.